Hello everyone. I see I have some friends here, so it's good. But most of you are not my friends. So raise your hand if you think pitching is scary. Okay, good. How about the networking part? Okay. So the reason I'm here is because I want to give you 3 lessons that will make it a little bit less scary and a little bit easier. I always say that this is not the Bible, this is not the only way to do it, but I will give you those lessons and you can do whatever you want with them. I usually do these workshops from 3 hours to 3 weeks, and I've done them for 5-year-olds and 75-year-olds. I've done them, it's true, I've done them to designers, business people, engineers, military, and well, basically it's for everyone. It's not only if you're raising money, like somebody was talking. It's also, for example, if you have a project and you want to pitch it to your manager, and you want them to say yes. If you have a wife and she's stubborn, and you want her to say yes, the structure will work. I've been using it on my wife, and she's a lawyer, and she wins every argument. But I feel like I had the best practice and I can give you something today. So just to be on the clear side, this is not the Bible, but I hope that the structure will inspire you to use it in a way that will help you one day. And if it does, buy me a beer. Okay? So one thing to understand is that when you're pitching or in any situation, so now I'm here on the stage, I'm trying to tell you something, and by the way, this is not a pitch. I don't pitch like this. This is a lesson. So there's a difference. But when you're pitching, you usually do it to people you don't know or you people you just met. And you're that guy. You're throwing a ball into their face. And if you know about baseball, on the other side you have 2 people. The other person who's receiving the ball and the other person who is hitting the ball. And metaphorically, you want to help your friend to win. You want that person to be your friend. And you want to avoid the other person to reject your ideas. But the good thing to know is that you're that person. You're throwing something that could hurt the other person or surprise them. So it's very, for me, philosophically, it's one of the first steps. Who you are when you pitch. That's important. And networking is hard because there's all these elements. So networking is a combination of so many pitches that you do it to so many people in so many different situations. And some of you who know me, and especially my friends, they know I'm a networking machine because I always pitch. And I don't always pitch for money or to sell something. I pitch because I think it's fun. And I network because I love people. And I want to know you all. I want to know what inspires you and so on. But in order to do that, there's so many elements. So I cannot go into them all. But that's why I think networking is hard. Because there's so many different people, so many different variables to adjust to, and so many different messages to those people, because your mission when you're pitching is to maximize the opportunity for that person to say a yes or to agree with you. And it's mostly about them, but it's also about you, how you level with them in your communication. And when I pitch, I usually focus on these questions. And this is where most people make mistakes even before the content. So most people think that, okay, I'll do a perfect pitch and then people will buy it. And that's usually, it doesn't go like that. I've done so many exercises in the classroom about this question, what is a pitch? And I made people draw figures and pictures together as a team, just drawing one line. And one team, I told them what to draw, a car. And the other team, I didn't tell them what to draw. So the people who drew a car, they did it together and they drew a basic car that was very clear. And the other team, they drew something like Mona Lisa picture. So when you're pitching and you don't know what you're pitching, it's very hard. So if you're pitching Mona Lisa, that's what usually most startups do, especially in games. They're trying to pitch everything in the game. They're trying to pitch everything in their startup. And they don't know how to communicate that because it's too vague, too complicated, even for them. And the other mistake about the what is that when you're pitching a car, not all cars are the same. So some cars, have different power. Some cars have different colors. Some cars have different price range. So the pitch has to be clear. And the second element that I think is very important is why you're pitching. And this is where most people, I think, it's difficult for them, because when I pitch to someone to raise money, that's an investor. Even there, people are different. Different investors have different ways how they get convinced. And that's very difficult science. There's so much to do there that I cannot cover today, that how you study people, how do you maximize the opportunity for them to believe you. But the most important thing about why you pitch is basically the reason you got on the stage, the reason you went to the person. So do you want to raise money? Do you want them to say yes to your project? Do you want to have co-founders? Do you want someone to kind of introduce you to someone else? So the way I do it is that I first understand what I want to pitch, why I want to pitch it, and then I think, what do I want to ask from them? And we get to that later. When to pitch and to whom to pitch, they're related to why and what. And today we're going to focus on how to pitch it, or what is the formula there. So lesson number 1. I promised you 3 lessons. So if you do those, I promise you, you won't fail a pitch. It wouldn't be perfect, but you won't fail a pitch. So lesson number 1, pitching is persuasion. So Google the word, what persuasion means. To me, it means you convince someone to say yes. And there's so many ways how you can do that. I have articles for that, amazing articles. I can send you those. And networking is about persistence. So this is pitching to me. You make someone eat a donut even if they don't want to, just for the pandas. And some people think it's manipulation. Some people think it's just an art how you phrase it. For me, I see it as how you phrase it, because you shouldn't pitch something that will harm people. Or to me, I am against that. I'm against of selling something that is out of the scope. And persuasion is this. I mean, networking is this. The Guy Kawasaki has the 10-20-30 rule. I have 30-20-10 rule. You need to have 30 seconds to raise awareness to someone. So mostly in the 30 seconds, you want them to meet you. You want them to expect an email from you, or to have more time with them. Then you prepare for the more time. So you prepare for 20 minutes of more with their time. And you have to remember that you cannot succeed from the first time. If you think that your pitch is going to succeed from the first time, you're delusional. Especially with my wife, I had to watch 9 chick flick movies to make her watch 1 Mad Max. And to me, it was a success, because she would never go to watch the movie with me. So this is what I think Finns are afraid of. Finns are afraid of rejection. They are afraid of trying sometimes. And not only Finns, I think everyone is afraid of rejection. But if you have this mentality, okay, I go to this guy, I get my message, I tell him that I will try to meet me, and if he says no, it's fine. You go to the next person, and that's the point where it's hard. You have to believe in yourself that the 10th one will say yes. Lesson number 2, there are so many variables that you need to cover. And those usually I spend at least 1 hour covering them. But let's try to do them in 2 minutes. Timing. So timing means when you approach someone. The best example now I hear is like a person in a bar. If 2 people are talking and they seem like they're having fun, you don't go talk to them. If 2 people are so busy doing something, you don't approach them. If you approach someone when they are not ready for you, that's the main message. This variable will affect you. The tone is very important. So I'm wearing a hat today. I'm wearing a t-shirt. So I'm not here to sell something financial. So tone can be how people look you, how people understand your message, or how you say it. I want people to laugh at my jokes. I want to be approachable. I want people to trust me in a way. Because if you're pitching something to an investor in the finance, you need to wear a suit, you need to talk facts, you need to convey kind of reliability, trust, and so on. So tone means how do you want the other person to hear you or feel you, from the appearance and kind of tone. And the other one, and this is applicable to basically today and tomorrow, time is how long you stay with the person. So you're going to meet so many people today and tomorrow you're going to have beers with them. And the rule is to meet so many people so you can get something out of it. Usually people stay too long or too little. If you stay too long, you might lose the person because you worked so hard to get their attention, their trust, but then you say something stupid. I usually do that because I'm Lebanese, I like to talk, I like to make stupid jokes. So staying too long can be really bad for you because you're not there to make friends with them. You're not there, I'm talking about business context. If you're with your friends, this is irrelevant. You're not pitching to your friends. But if you stay too little, for example, to me, it's stupid. You've done all the work, but you didn't say enough, and you leave without conveying the real message, or without leaving maybe a good impression. You just maybe aggressively tried to sell something and you didn't spend enough time. So the key here is to balance how long you stay. Not too much, not too little. The last one is content, and this is something that I think people in the games, they do really, really, really well. Physical content means the words, technical are the terminology. So for example, in chemistry, you mentioned the particles and so on. In the games, you mentioned the LTV and all these different abbreviations. And the emotional part is how much they feel you when you talk something. Do they trust you? Do they think you're funny? Do they think you're going to deliver this project? Or whatever you're trying to convey, it has to have some sort of enthusiasm. Because it's supposed to be something that you're passionate about. So that's the main thing about that. So all these are variables. Lesson number 3, there's a structure that you could use that could be applied to any situation, including pitching for investment, your wife, your managers, your troops, if you're in military, to inspire them. And this structure always works for me, at least. And it works for people in Startup Sauna. We've been coaching them for 10 years now. And I've been doing these workshops, I had just 2 last week. So I've been doing this for a long time. And usually people do practice this for hours in the classroom. We do some exercises and so on. But today we don't have time to do the exercises, but try to understand the philosophy of this structure. Because you can use it even today in the bar. If you run out of words, if you run out of ideas what to talk about, you could use this. Don't use it on me because I know it. So what do you say first when you start a conversation or a pitch? You start with a hi. Hi is very important for any pitch, especially on the stage, especially when you're afraid or nervous. When you say hi, it means you're ready. It's like you jump in a cold, ice-cold sea. Imagine that situation. If you say hi, it's like a signal to yourself that, hey, I'm ready. Usually say, hi, I'm Willie, if you're in a bar, in a social situation, but remember, when you're pitching, train yourself that hi is your key to start to release your nervousness. I was really nervous in the beginning. I'm always nervous in the beginning. What comes after the hi? Punchline. Wrong. Sorry. So punchline. And I really want to stress the punchline here because people have very short attention span. And usually when you're pitching, you have very short time, 3-5 minutes. And what I found that really, really works is that a punchline should be a full sentence. It can have something after that. So let's say we have the latest, multiplayer game that is going to revolutionize, let's say, esport, and we are focusing on China market. It's going to be amazing. I've never done a game pitch, but I assume it goes like this. Why it has to be a full sentence? Because it's something that you have to learn, and you have to repeat, and it doesn't change. It's like the main few sentences that you want to say everywhere. You want to train your team to say it also, so you'll have one message across everywhere you go. And the logic behind that is science. Like, people have 8 seconds attention span and the goldfish has 9 seconds. That's why I have this beautiful goldfish there. So you will remember that you don't have that much time to say. I didn't introduce myself well. I didn't need to because I don't have time to tell you everything about me, but I'll tell you later. I told you just the important stuff so you can to listen to me a little bit more. So after the punchline, you talk about the problem. Because you want to tell people, what is this pitch, what is this situation about? Why is it important to you first, and why is it important to the world? And in the problem you mentioned couple of very interesting facts. Let's say, in the game it's very difficult because the problem is boredom, or you want to spend time and so on. And I will tell you later how you adjust that to the gaming industry. But the problem here, for example, there's not enough something, it's too expensive, we don't find this or that, and X amount of people in the world don't have water, for example. Like very concrete things that will relate to the person who's talking to you or who's listening to you. And then you mentioned the solution. And in the gaming industry, the solution is actually the game. So you show a little bit about the game, but let's say imagine a different pitch. Usually people complicate the solution, and that's why most pitches fail, because the solution is either too complicated, irrelevant, or a really bad solution. So I'm sorry to say that sometimes the idea is not good, but no matter how you communicate it, people are not going to say yes. So it's not about the pitch. You might have a perfect pitch, but the solution is not relevant. And then you mentioned the values. So these parts in blue are the part where you present your solution. So problem, solution, and values, you present your solution. In the gaming industry, you substitute those three with genre and differentiator. So genre means what kind of game you're making and how unique is this game, or what is unique. Is it mechanics? Is it monetization? Is it something? So that's how you adapt it to the gaming industry, this pitch. But usually if you're using this structure, let's say in a bar, you're sitting next to someone who's interesting and you want to talk about something, pick a problem in the world, talk about it. So let's say some people in the world don't have water. What do you think about that? Or pick your passions and try that. Especially Finns. I think Finns are very bad at small talk, right? And if you talk about solutions, you can talk like, hey, did you see this latest Tesla invention? And talk about that. And one way to do it is to ask two questions. So if someone says something to you about whatever topic, you can ask them two questions. What did you mean about that? Hey, how does it work? So this is just a way how you convert a pitch or a situation into a communication. So after values, you talk about business models, and that's also very particular in the gaming industry, because the business model is like free to play, and that's what people confuse. For example, if it's free to play, there's so many other elements there you can talk. Who are your publisher? Who are your customers? Who are your partners? How are you gonna, let's say, market that thing? So here I would think about the business model canvas. In the situation where I pitched to my wife, I could tell her that, hey, I have free tickets. I have the Vidicet satellite or these vouchers from work, and it's free for you. So hi, let's go watch a movie, newest Bruce Willis movie. They don't make any fun action movies anymore. This movie is in the theater. That's the solution, by the way. It's going to be fun. That's the value. It's free for us because we have the tickets. So I'm trying to show you an example how you adapt this pitch to any situation. I'm telling my wife to go watch this Bruce Willis. After business model, you should talk about the team, and that's very important also. This is where you can present yourself more. So hi, my name is Walid, I'm the program manager, I do this, I do that. But the most important thing about pitching and telling about your team, like Samuli said, team, 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 it's very important to say why you together are going to succeed. And remember, there's not enough time to talk about individual backgrounds. So hi, I'm Walid, I have a PhD in this. This is Sarah, she's been studying 15 years this and that. And there's no time for that. You have to say in few sentences why this team is very important. After the team, you talk about traction, so milestones. So traction is everything you have invested in, time, money, effort, up to this date, and maybe something in the future that you have, for example, a contract or something you're working on. So an example of this one is the best one, like in games, that we have 1 million user, or we have an office, we have a team, we have this technology, we have something very unique, and we have been working on it for 5 years or 2 years or 5 months and so on. And why is it important to mention the traction? Because from the business model to the team to the traction, you get to the most important part, which is the ask. If you do a pitch and you don't ask, I think it's wrong. You have to always ask something. I don't know if you remember Samuelis, he actually asked you for feedback. And he's a pro, he always asks for something. And it's not always money. You can ask for feedback, support, advice, anything. Mostly when you pitch to investors, people pitch for money, but they forget that they can ask so much more. So be creative. What's the last thing you say in the end? Yes. So, I don't know if you notice, there's those green parts. They are the world's smallest pitch ever. Hi, I'm making this game, blah, 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 and it's going to be awesome. And in my head, I forgot everything. Thank you. That's a pitch. You're going to ask me questions. If I have a good, strong punchline, that would be the world's smallest pitch. So I maybe succeeded in telling you what is the world's smallest pitch, but if you do all these elements, you will succeed. The orange parts are the business parts. So the business model is important to raise money. If you want to raise money and you don't do the product one, you can show a demo, so you can trick them, you can show them a video about your game. But if you don't do the orange parts well, and especially the team, which is, I call it magic, the pink one is magic, you will fail. You can take a picture of this if you want. So these are the 3 lessons. If you're in a war, your mission is to persuade persistently, your strategy is to conquer the variables, and your weapon is the structure. There's other structures, Why, How, What, by Simon Sinek. You should watch that video. And there's more videos you can share. I don't mind if they have the slides. And here are the takeaways. The lessons, knowing the why, adapting your pitch, so answering what and why, and then practicing. If you don't practice, you won't succeed. Usually I do a lot of exercises to prove that practice is everything. I was supposed to pitch this, but I will forget it because there's 5 seconds left. Thank you, guys.